Alright guys, welcome to another episode of the Killshot Talks, I guess. I'm doing my Injustice 2 Premier Skin wish list. I know today's April Fool's Day. Haven't pulled any jokes today just yet. Probably after I get done doing this, I will. But let's go ahead and get through this. So, I'm just going to put up photos of the actual costumes that I would like to see as Premier Skins. I don't know all the names for the actual Pacific costumes in general, so I'm going to let you look at them and see which ones I like. But first up, we have Batman, who has a big variety of different costumes that we can get him into, and you can get some good stuff out of Batman. Next up, we have Superman. In the same way, you can get a good amount of Premier Skins out of. One of the big ones that I hope that they actually bring back is the Regime costume from the first game. I really like that. It kind of gave him like a king type feel. Next is Aquaman, which was a little hard to find a few costumes. There was a couple of costumes that I really enjoyed. One of them would be the Young Justice Aquaman. I kind of like the way he looked. Up next, Green Lantern. Now you're going to get a little confused about some of them, but the only reason I did this, and I'll explain this, with John Stewart, I want the skin that we got from the Injustice 1. I think they did really good with that one, and I think that's what they needed to stick with, just update it a little. For Guy Gardner, give him his Red Lantern costume that he got from the Red Lantern comic book series. Kyle Reeves, give him his White Lantern costumes, and I got multiple versions of that one, as you'll see on the screen. And then just for Hal Jordan, have the Darkest Night costume. I think that would be interesting for him. Up next, we have Wonder Woman, who was also interesting to find different costumes. Some of these may not even be in continuity costumes, but I think they'd be really awesome to see in the game. And it would give us a fresh style for these characters. So yeah. Up next is Supergirl. I think I found a couple of them for her that I enjoyed, but the one that I'm most familiar with is the animated series Supergirl, and I would like to see that for the character. Next is Catwoman. I found a good couple of Premier Skins that I'd like to see for Catwoman. She's got an interesting repertoire of costumes, like the Arkham City costume, the animated series costume, and stuff like that. Next is Poison Ivy. Now, she was a little bit more difficult. I may not have a lot for some characters because they may not have a variety of different ways of looking besides pretty much almost butt naked. So it was a little hard to find stuff for her. Green Arrow is the next one, and he's definitely an interesting character to find some costumes for. You could definitely switch him out for Arsenal or Red Arrow or Speedy, whatever name you want to go with for that character. But I would definitely do the CW Arsenal Roy Harper, because I like the way they did his costume, but I also like the Young Justice version too. Next is Gorilla Grodd, another character who was a little hard to find some things for, but interesting character. Next, we have Captain Cold, who, when you see his reveal, to me, it looks like they took the CW Captain Cold and the comic book Captain Cold, and they're like, let's just make them have an orgy and make one character. Just, and they just took the best parts of the character, and he looks awesome. But I've got a couple of costumes that I'd like to see for him, especially just the CW one in general. Deadshot is next. I got a few of those, including the Suicide Squad movie one. Granted, Will Smith did do good as Deadshot. The movie just wasn't all around that fun to follow. Like, they had good characters, but it's kind of like they threw good characters in there with a crappy plot. Like, Diablo was really good, and Deadshot was really good, and Harley Quinn was really good. And hell, even Captain Boomerang, I liked who played him. But they just kind of didn't do the greatest. Up next is Harley Quinn. Speak of the She-Devil. She's got some interesting costumes, like her Arkham Knight, and maybe Arkham City costumes. Definitely the Suicide Squad costume, even though kind of how she already looks in the game kind of reminds me of that way, because her hair is dyed at the ends where it's pink and blue on each side. But she's got some interesting ones. Up next is Cheetah. I got some really interesting ones for her. I didn't pay much attention to Cheetah in the DC universe, but she's got some really interesting costumes, and I would hope they bring some of those forth, especially the full Cheetah looking, like it's just fully decked out. It's like an animated series, I think, for Wonder Woman, maybe. Next is Black Canary. I definitely want to see the CW, and I'm stuck between seeing Sarah or her sister. Can't think of who her sister on that show is right now, but I'd like to see the CW Black Canary. And there's a few other Black Canaries like Young Justice and stuff like that I would like to see in this. Up next is Blue Beetle. I had a little trouble finding some different costumes for him. I know I've got the original Blue Beetle on there, which I'd like to see. Green Beetle from Young Justice, and the Black Beetle. Now, I don't understand. There's shaders, Killshot. There's shaders. They can change him into the Black Beetle, but he's still small. If you pay attention to Black Beetle in Young Justice, he is twice the size of Blue Beetle. So I actually want him to be twice the size. I want him to be bigger. Up next is Scarecrow. I didn't find a lot for him, and that's okay. Most of them's from the animated series and maybe even the Arkham games, and that's usually where he shines as his character. Up next is a character that I feel that could have been a non-playable character, and they could have put somebody in his spot because he doesn't really matter, but that's Cyborg. So I found a few costumes for him, but he's just one of those characters in this game that I think they could have simply had him break Superman out, and then somebody kills him. He overloads and explodes. And then we don't have to play as him in the game at all. We don't have to. Don't have to worry about it. But that's my opinion. Up next is The Flash. Got some interesting costumes for them. I definitely have Godspeed. Now, I do need to read the Rebirth comics for the new for the Flash, which introduces Godspeed. But I think that was an interesting costume. The Black Lantern Flash costume I enjoyed. And Kid Flash. I really enjoyed that one. Up next is Dr. Fate. And I found some cool ones, and I'm going to have to save my judgment for this character until I actually play the game on May 16th. And keep in mind, you might want to watch, because I'll be doing a live stream the instant that game comes out. If I don't pick it up midnight or the next day. But I'm going to give him a try, because right now he seems like he's too zony. He's too defense type player, and that's just not my type. But maybe there are players who enjoy that. So up next is Atrocitus. Now this was one that I'm really excited for, and I can't wait to try him out. I found some interesting costumes for him. There isn't a lot that you can find for a Red Lantern that's only been a Red Lantern. But I found some interesting fan art that I think would be really cool to see as Atrocitus. And you can give me your opinions down in the comment about it. Up next is Robin. Now, I found a couple of interesting Robin costumes. The character seems interesting, and it's Damian Wayne, and I'm on the fritz about Damian Wayne. He seems cool, but at the same time, he's a little snob, so it's weird with that character. But I hope they have some good premiere skins for him. He looks awesome in the game, and I can't wait to give him a try and customize his outfit and his sword. Up next is the other character that could have been a non-playable character that has no reason to be in the game, which is Bane. I found not a lot for Bane. Mostly like Arkham Origins, his classic comic books look, and stuff like that. He's just a character that you can't really do much with, and I think he could have been one that we could have dealt without in the video game again. Up next is Swamp Thing. Now, looking for different skins for him was semi-difficult because it's hard to go off of what's going to be available for gear pieces and stuff. But one I really liked, which gave him kind of like a tree-type helmet. And I think that might be in the gear system, but if not, I like it as a premiere skin. There's another one in here that you'll see that looks like a Viking. And another one that I believe looks like a knight or a samurai. And I think those will be some really cool ideas how to change the look of Swamp Thing. Up next is Brainiac. Didn't find a lot for him, but some interesting costumes. Can't wait to give him a try and see what he's going to be like. And see what his story is. I'll do another video probably tomorrow or maybe tonight if I feel like it, discussing what I think is going to happen in the comic books with him. Up next is Firestorm. Now, I have a lot of costumes for this one, but my definitely big ones is the Blackest Night Deathstorm costume and the New 52 Deathstorm costume. I want to see those in the game. I'd love to play as those. And also the two different Firestorms in the CW. I want to see those. He seems like he's going to be one of my favorite characters that's brand new in this game. Next up is Black Adam, which I'm surprised has came back, but I really enjoy the character in the first game, and I would like to actually pick up some comics of his and see how he is and what type of character he is, and his development, and if he has it, because he feels like he could be a villain. He's a villain, but at the same time he could be an anti-hero. It's just kind of weird with him. Up next is the Joker. Now I know this guy hasn't been confirmed yet, but I mean, come on, the leak list is pretty much true. There's no reason that he's not going to be on there, unless they just throw us a curveball and it's not. But if he is, I've got some cool costumes for him, especially the original animated series. And if they do change voices for these characters when they go into different skins, you got to get Mark Hamill to do the Joker voice for him. And you will notice that I did not put the Suicide Squad Joker in here. I will not acknowledge that that is Joker at all. I think that is Black Mask posing as Joker, because the way that director cut and had him read lines and had him act, he was too much of a pimp, and that is more of a Black Mask move than a Joker move. So I will not acknowledge him as Joker. Up next is Darkseid. There isn't a lot of costumes you can do for him, but there was some interesting ones and stuff like that. So yeah, Well, I'm going to end it here because we're getting ready to go into DLC Premier Skins, and I may hold those off for either tomorrow or a later date. So then we actually know if this leak list DLC skins is the true one. But hope you're enjoying the content I'm pushing out. I'm going to do some updates about the Friday the 13th news that we got, talking about how we won't get a physical copy right at first and we're going to get a digital. And I'll tell you how my feelings are about that because I hate digital. I'm the type who loves to, enjoys having a physical copy. But I hope y'all are having fun. Hope you're enjoying your night. Remember to check those contracts, and I'll see you next time.